Imagine this for a second. It's 3 in the morning, you're wide awake, staring at the ceiling, and your brain is spiraling through every single financial nightmare that could possibly happen tomorrow. Maybe your car suddenly refuses to start. Maybe your phone dies for good. Your job might be on the line. Your pet might need urgent medical care. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? But what if I told you there's a specific amount of money that can silence almost all of these late-night panic spirals and dramatically shift the way you move through life? A lot of people assume financial milestones are just random numbers rich people throw around to make everyone else feel behind. But here's the twist. Psychology and math actually explain why certain amounts of money can dramatically reshape your daily life. And the first genuinely transformative milestone isn't $1 million. It's not even 6 figures. It's $10,000. I'm Trum, and I spend an absurd amount of time analyzing money, human behavior, and why some people breeze through financial hiccups while others feel like their bank account is a ticking time bomb. If you've ever wondered what it really feels like to reach different savings levels, and more importantly, how each threshold influences your decisions, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap the like button if this video gives you clarity. Before we jump into why $10,000 is so impactful, let me show you what life usually looks like without it. You know that moment at the grocery store when you're mentally calculating whether you can get the brand name cereal or if you need to settle for the cardboard-flavored generic one. Or when your friends want to go out for dinner, and you scramble to invent an excuse because admitting that a $25 meal would break your weekly budget feels embarrassing. This is the daily reality for millions of people living one paycheck away from trouble. Every purchase is a careful equation. Every unexpected bill feels like you're teetering on disaster. Every decision is made defensively, not proactively. But here's where everything starts shifting. There's a psychological phenomenon that kicks in when you save your first $10,000. And it's not about buying fancy stuff. In fact, most people who hit this milestone barely change their spending at all. The real transformation is subtle and incredibly powerful. The first shift is your relationship with risk. When you've got no financial buffer, every choice feels like a gamble. Switching jobs, moving somewhere new, even planning a vacation feels terrifying because one mistake could leave you financially wrecked. But when there's $10,000 sitting in your account, those same decisions suddenly feel grounded and manageable. You're not quitting your job to join the circus, but you finally build the courage to ask for that promotion. Or take a course that could significantly raise your salary. That safety net doesn't make you reckless. It gives you permission to think beyond survival mode. There's also something fascinating that happens in your brain when you see a 5-figure balance for the first time. Studies show that financial security lowers cortisol, your primary stress hormone. So hitting $10,000 doesn't just change your finances. It literally changes how your body responds to pressure. Think about the last time your car flashed a warning light. If you're broke, that little indicator might as well be a doomsday alarm. Your brain instantly jumps to, how much will this cost? Will I need a credit card? Who can I borrow from? But with $10,000 saved, that same light is annoying, not catastrophic. This shift from panic to irritation seems small, but it changes everything. When you're not perpetually stressed about money, every other part of life improves. Your sleep improves. You think more clearly. You're more patient with people. Financial stress bleeds into everything, and removing it frees up mental space you didn't even know you were missing. Here's something most people misunderstand about the $10,000 milestone. The value isn't in spending the money. It's in knowing you have it. This is what financial planners call the emergency fund effect. The emergency fund isn't really about emergencies. It's about the comfort of being able to handle them. Most people who reach $10,000 don't actually spend it on fixing crises. They spend it on opportunities. They start side businesses. They invest in courses. They move to better cities. Or they simply have enough mental clarity to focus on increasing their income instead of stressing about survival. There's also a confidence shift that's hard to put into words. When you've got savings, you walk differently. You negotiate better. You say no to bad offers. You're less desperate, and that alone changes the results you get in life. Now, $10,000 may feel impossible if saving even $100 per month is tough right now. But here's the important part. The hardest part isn't building the savings. It's becoming the kind of person who builds savings. Most people treat saving money like crash dieting. They go extreme for a short burst, burn out, and fall back into old habits. But people who reach $10,000 shift their identity. They stop viewing saving as a temporary chore and start seeing themselves as someone who saves by default. This identity shift reshapes every financial choice. Once you see yourself as a saver, you naturally start noticing ways to reduce expenses without feeling deprived. You find new ways to earn. You start thinking long-term instead of chasing instant gratification. And the beautiful part? It gets easier the further you go. Saving your first $1,000 is brutal. The next 1,000 is noticeably easier. By the time you're working toward your 5th or 6,000, the process begins to feel automatic. There's also a very real mathematical reason $10,000 is such a powerful number. It covers most unexpected expenses that derail people: car repairs, medical bills, short-term unemployment, urgent travel. Most emergencies cost less than $10,000. So once you hit this milestone, you're almost immune to the typical crises that keep people trapped in the paycheck-to-paycheck loop. But the most profound shift after saving $10,000 is how you view money itself. Money stops being something that evaporates every month and becomes something that builds options. Before savings, money feels scarce. Every dollar spent is a dollar gone forever. After $10,000, you start thinking in terms of leverage. Your money can help you earn more money. That's when people get curious about investing, side income, and long-term growth. Not because they suddenly became financial experts, but because their mind is finally free from constant panic. Here's a mind bender. A person with $10,000 saved is often closer to financial independence than someone who earns twice their income but saves nothing. Because the essential skill isn't earning money, it's keeping it. You probably know someone who makes 6 figures but is always broke. They've got the fancy car, the expensive apartment, the luxury habits, but zero savings. Meanwhile, someone earning $40,000 per year could quietly have thousands saved simply because they're intentional. The difference is mindset, and saving $10,000 is like earning a degree in money discipline. You learn patience. You learn the difference between needs and wants. You learn how to cut costs without feeling deprived. And you learn delayed gratification, the ultimate financial superpower. Now let's talk practical impact. $10,000 can handle nearly any car repair short of a full engine replacement. Most repairs fall between $500 and $3,000, well within your comfort zone. Medical hiccups become manageable too. Emergency room visits, urgent care, minor procedures, none of these can wipe you out anymore. Job loss becomes survivable rather than terrifying. $10,000 can keep you afloat for 3 to 6 months, depending on your lifestyle. That's enough breathing room to choose your next job instead of begging for one. And here's where things get exciting. Savings don't just protect you from disasters, they open doors you couldn't step through before. Maybe you discover a $2,000 certification that increases your salary by $10,000 per year. Without savings, you can't invest. With savings, it's a no-brainer. Maybe a friend launches a startup and needs small investors. Without savings, impossible. With savings, an actual opportunity. Even sleep improves. There's real research showing that people with emergency funds sleep better, worry less, and report better mental health. Turns out financial anxiety is one of the biggest contributors to insomnia. Your relationships benefit as well. Money stress can destroy families, marriages, friendships. Removing that stress frees emotional energy and reduces conflict. Another hidden benefit. You show up differently in job interviews. When you're not desperate, you negotiate higher, you ask smarter questions, and you project confidence. This often leads to better offers, starting a positive loop that compounds over time. Now let's address the fear. $10,000 can seem unreachable, but you don't need to save it overnight. The most successful savers start tiny, maybe $25 or $50 a month. What matters is consistency. Here's some perspective. The average person spends over $3,000 a year on coffee, takeout, and convenience purchases. If you redirected just a third of that, you'd reach $10,000 in under 3 years. You don't need extreme sacrifice, just awareness and intention. When you hit $10,000, it changes how you approach your next $10,000. And the next. Before long, you're on a path toward real financial freedom, not because of luck, but because of habits. The transformation isn't about the money itself. It's about becoming the kind of person who can build money. That identity shift influences every other area of life. Let's talk about something called decision fatigue. Every day, you make dozens of micro-money decisions. Should I get generic pasta or the brand I like? Can I afford lunch out? Do I really need premium gas? Each tiny choice uses mental energy, and when you're broke, every choice feels heavier. But with $10,000 in savings, 90% of those micro-decisions disappear. You're no longer choosing based on survival, you're choosing based on preference. The mental relief is enormous. I know someone who said that after hitting $10,000, they nearly cried in the grocery store, not because they bought anything luxurious, but because they finally shopped based on what they wanted, not what they could afford. That's freedom most people don't even know they're missing. Now, $10,000 doesn't make you wealthy. It won't let you quit your job or buy unnecessary gadgets. But what it gives you is breathing room. And breathing room is the foundation of smart financial choices. With that space, you can optimize your expenses. Compare insurance rates. Change phone plans. Catch opportunities you'd normally ignore. Here's another psychological twist. When you're broke, every dollar feels precious. But with $10,000 saved, you become more willing to spend money on things that could increase your income. A $50 networking event suddenly feels like an investment, not a risk. And often, it pays off. Savings unlock career growth not because of the money itself, but because of the confidence the money creates. Money stress also influences social dynamics. When you're worried about your finances, you avoid events, withdraw from friends, feel embarrassed, or even resentful. But savings restore your sense of control. So here's the truth. $10,000 isn't just a number. It's a psychological breakthrough. It changes how you sleep, how you work, how you think, how you interact, and how you make decisions. If your bank account currently looks like an old-school phone number, don't panic. Start small. Stay consistent. And remember, the person you become on the journey to $10,000 is far more valuable than the money itself.